CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown. Who do you have as your number one wide receiver? What's going on, YouTube? It's your main man, Boys for Life, coming at you with another video. So, the hot topic right now is, as we get winding down towards the end of the season, is who's better? A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb. Who do you have as your number one? I mean, it's no secret, and it's obvious, right? A.J. Brown was brought in to help the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm going to tell you right now, unbiased, he's helped them tremendously. I mean, pairing up with Devontae Smith, it has done wonders for Jalen Hurts. I guarantee you, and I'm telling you this right now, if it wasn't for those two guys, along with, other key components to that offense, Jalen Hurts would not be being talked about as an MVP candidate right now. And like I said, unbiased right now. Could you see it? I'm not quite there yet. But without a shadow of a doubt, it really has helped out Jalen Hurts. I mean, look at his stats right now. Just won NFC Player of the Week. I mean, crazy. I mean, he's the best running back in the NFC East. That is crazy. Probably the best running back in the NFL right now. But he plays quarterback, doesn't he? Anyway, that's a different topic for a different day. This is all about A.J. Brown and CeeDee Lamb. So A.J. Brown right now, I've heard, isn't the true number one, and they really don't have any number ones. I've heard this on a few shows already, and I'm not going to name which shows because that'd be too long to go through. But if you just look at it clearly, A.J. Brown with 86 targets, right, on the season through 11 games. Devontae Smith with 79 targets through the 11 games. If the only comparison that we can do between these two, because if you look at CeeDee Lamb, because I'm being told, or not told, but I heard that CeeDee Lamb with 104 targets through, and we're looking at targets, not so much receptions, because it's who gets targeted more, right? Number ones get targeted a lot, which is what we've asked for in the past. We've asked for the playmaker, for Kellen Moore to feature the playmaker a lot more, and it seems like that's what's been going on this season with CeeDee Lamb at 104 targets through 11 games. That's almost 10. That's almost 10 targets a game. You go look back to last year, he played 16 games, he got 120 targets. That is 7.5 targets per game. While you look at his ex-teammate, Amari Cooper, who was the true number one, right? Who was considered a true number one, talked about it. Everyone knew that Amari Cooper was the number one guy. But when you look at him, he had 104 targets, right? That's just under 7. That's like a 6.9 receptions or targets per game. But CeeDee Lamb Amari Cooper was our number one wide receiver last year, was he not? Or he was looked at as the number one wide receiver. Fast forward to this year, you have Devontae Smith and you have A.J. Brown. Now I'm being told that, not being told, I gotta stop saying that. I'm hearing that CeeDee Lamb is being force-fed the ball. Since the Giants game, since Cooper Rush was playing, he was getting mad open. Like, this dude was getting open. He was having some dropsies here and there. But ever since that second half, he's made up for it tremendously. His coming out party against the Green Bay Packers, I'll buy it being a loss. But 11 targets or 11 receptions for 150 yards? I'm just saying. Amari Cooper looks like a true number one as of right now and going forward. You have A.J. Brown, who was brought in to be, I'm just going to say it, Batmans to Batmans, right? I mean, superhero to superhero, pretty much, right? That's what they were brought here to be. Number 1A, number 1B. Not really much of a difference, right? So if you look at the stats here, you have A.J. Brown at 80 86 receptions through 11 games. Now, if we do that by 16, if we do the math, that's going to equal around 120 targets, 120 targets per game. Now, if you look at Devontae Smith with 79 targets per game out of the 11, that's around 7 targets per game, right? So if you multiply that by 16, it's like 7 and some change. You multiply that by the 16 games that we play, or actually, it's 17 games now. It's 17 games. My math is now off because through 16 games, both these guys are going to average. Well, if you do the 17, it won't be hard. So you have AJ Brown at 120 through 16. Add the 7, that's 127 targets for the entire season. If you have Devontae Smith, he's at 114. If you do through 16 games, add one more, that's 121 targets. Not much difference in those two, just like you saw with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb last year. Now, last year was the first year that they implemented the 17 games, so they didn't play. Each one missed a game. Actually, Amari Cooper missed 2 games. And if you add that 7 in, then that's 14, 104. What is that, 116? CeeDee Lamb had 7.5. You look at that, at the 120, 127. Right? So there really isn't much difference between what we saw last year with CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and what you're seeing right now with Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. It's 1A and 1B, and they can be switched at any point in time. So the question begs, who is the better wide receiver? AJ Brown? CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, if you look at it, has 851 yards, while AJ Brown has 831 on less targets. So you're thinking, okay, his completion or his reception yards are greater, which they are. Less receptions. Less yards, less receptions, because remember, we're looking at targets now. He doesn't catch everything. Same thing with CeeDee Lamb. Doesn't catch everything. So, actually, that's completely different. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. that's something completely different. But anyway, you're looking at the just lost my train of thought. You're looking at the number of yards they have. CeeDee Lamb, 851 yards. AJ Brown, 831 yards. Now, if you look at both of these guys, who has had their quarterback all season? CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown. Now, if we look at what CeeDee Lamb has been doing, if he's had Dak all season, I'm pretty sure he would have touched over 1,000 yards already. Missing your guy that gives you the number one offense since he's returned, and he's on pace right now for throwing 232 yards per game since he's been back, or throughout the season, I should say. It's no question who is the better wide receiver. You have an easier way to go with A.J. Brown. I guarantee you, if A.J. Brown was by himself, just like he was in Tennessee, he would not be having the season that he's having. Would he have a couple 3-game touchdowns? We don't know. Because guess what? Some of that focus wouldn't be on Devontae Smith. It would be on A.J. Brown. Right now, you have CeeDee Lamb, who's basically by himself. You have Michael Gallup, who's barely coming back and starting to look somewhat normal. You had Cooper Rush with the Noah Brown hookup. You haven't really seen too much of Noah Brown since Dak has returned, have you? No, you haven't. So it's been the CeeDee Lamb show for the past, Dak came back week 7, right? And we're now going into week 12. So the last 4 games, it's been the CeeDee Lamb show. His best game coming against the Packers, even though we lost. CeeDee Lamb is doing it all by himself. Does he have Gallup there? Absolutely. Does he have Zeke there? Absolutely. And Tony Pollard and the 3 tight ends. Hendershot, Ferguson, and Schultz. But so does A.J. Brown. He has Miles Sanders. He has the best running back in the NFC East, which is Jalen Hurts. But maybe that's the problem. Your quarterback is over there is running the ball instead of trying to stay in the pocket and throw. Now I get it, Eagle fans. You're going to sit there and say, oh, I don't care how he gets the first down as long as he gets it, yada, yada. And I understand that. But if he's going to be a pure pocket, which he's not, but if he was, and he was trying to get the ball to A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown's the only guy that's there, it's going to be a lot tougher for both of these guys. And if it wasn't guys being paired up on teams correctly, the way Devontae Smith is, the way A.J. Brown is with that team, the way Jalen Hurts is and his style of play, no way does A.J. Brown even come close to CeeDee Lamb. Not even close. CeeDee Lamb's going to touch 1,000 yards within the next 3 games. Right now, I'm not sure about A.J. Brown. It seems like he's getting less and less targets as the season goes on. Well, I mean, you would assume so with Jalen Hurts rushing the ball damn near every time, every third down, every second down, pretty much, right? That's normally what you would see. So that ends this discussion for me. CeeDee Lamb is the number 1 wide receiver in the NFC East. Best wide receiver that the NFC East has to offer. And it ain't even close. But anyways, guys, that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.